What did you, or do you, want to be when you grow up? I bet you that none of you have said, I want to be a servant. Yes, we might want to be an astronaut or a teacher or a farmer, but nobody says, oh, I know what I want to do. I want to clean up after other people. I want to cook them food and serve them food. No. Maybe if you do a lot of jobs in the house, you might say, I feel like I'm a servant. I know that my mum says that quite a bit. She says, oh, I'm doing emptying the dishwasher, I'm cooking the tea, and no one's helping me. And, you know, being a servant isn't that fun. But Jesus was a servant. We call him our king, but we also call him a servant because he came to do the things that no one really wants to do. Well, how did Jesus serve us?
Jesus served and Jesus loved to show us how his Father loves. Jesus was at a table with friends like John and Pete. He made some soapy water and scrubbed their grubby feet. You can't wash my feet, says Pete. No way, not happening, never. But Jesus did the messy jobs, though he's the most important ever. Jesus ate and Jesus loved to show us how his Father loves. Jesus was having supper. He broke the bread in two. It's a picture of my body and it's broken now for you. He also filled a cup with wine. Remember when I'm gone that I bled because I loved you and paid for all your wrong. Jesus prayed and Jesus loved to show us how his Father loves. Jesus was in the garden. He knew his time had come. I wish there was another way, but let my Father's will be done. Jesus died and Jesus loved to show us how his Father loves. Some didn't like Jesus. He said he was God's son. They thought he was telling fibs and telling them for fun. And though he was God's son, they nailed him to a tree. In between two robbers, he died for you and me. He said it is finished, and then he closed his eyes, and in case he was pretending, they even stabbed his side. Jesus rose and Jesus loved to show us how his Father loves. A woman was at a graveyard. A man asked her what was wrong. The lady sobbed and sniffled, Jesus' body's gone. She thought he was a gardener, but there was no spade in view. But Jesus called her Mary. Then teacher, she cries, it's you. So now Jesus is alive. There's lots he wants to give. But most of all, it's life and love, so we can really live.
And this is why we call Jesus our servant king, because he chose to be a servant. Jesus, who is God himself, came down from heaven and came to live on earth in a human body. He chose to be a servant for us. And this is what today's Bible reading talks about. Isaiah is telling us about the man who's coming, the servant, Jesus, all those years before he came. Next week, in our celebration service, we're going to be thinking more about how Jesus is a servant and a king.